Hi, this is Les Levine, the self-proclaimed voice of truth and reason in Ohio sports. It was easy to forget that Bradley Zimmer still belonged to the Indians, considering how many potential outfielders there are in summer camp. It seems like there are about 10 of them. But you know what? If Zimmer can stay healthy, he can do all the things those other guys can do, and even better. He can do the work of 5 or 6 players still currently on the roster. We've got Bud Shaw here tonight. More sports and Les Levine is on the air. From the worldwide headquarters of More Sports and Les Levine, it is a Tuesday night. Good evening, everyone. Welcome once again to More Sports and Les Levine into our 24th consecutive year, soon to be 25. In fact, that'll come up around September 1st. Hopefully, you'll be with us. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. Bud Shaw is with us. He's been with me for over 20 of those years, I think, 22, 23. You can't count very well, otherwise you still wouldn't be here.
Well, that's why I was an English major, Les.
No
'Cause
math.
I was so bad at math. No skills at all.
All right, so we got stuff to talk about. It was good to see the Indians on TV locally last night. It would be better if there were fans there, but um, just having them on, I didn't sit in front of the TV and just watch and watch and watch, but just there was a comforting feeling having them on as I was going about my nightly duties.
Yeah, we had a round of golf on Friday with some guys, which we missed you, Les. We wish you had been there, but that question was brought up afterwards, and it was brought up by me, and I asked everybody at the table whether they would watch, how they felt about the Indians getting back, and would they make it a point to watch the games. And it was an interesting sample because Tony Grossi, who was in the group, was adamant that he thinks this season's going to be even more exciting than past seasons because of how shortened it is. That each of these 60 games is going to carry so much weight. It's going to feel more like an NFL season in that regard.
Did,
Um,
did
a couple of
everybody?
the other,
Did other guys agree
not,
with that?
yeah, a couple of the other guys, said that if it happened to be on when they were passing through the room, they'd watch, but they weren't going to miss a nice summer night outside to watch a season that they're not sure is going to have the same legitimacy at the end of it.
That'll be interesting because I think if you get down to the last 2 weeks or so, and a lot of teams still involved in the hunt, I think they'll join in the reindeer games, as they say.
Yeah, I think that argument, while a valid one about the season not having a lot of legitimacy, I think that's going to go by the wayside when people are reminded how much they missed having not just baseball but any sports that they could turn on TV and get a daily dose of it. And to me, that's the beauty of baseball. Is it's sort of that heartbeat of the summer. If you're a sports fan, you don't have to go look for the schedule to find out whether they're playing that night. In most cases, they're playing almost every night, and it's a thing that becomes kind of a pulse of a city. Now, that happens when teams are good, and I happen to think this team's going to be pretty good this year.
Well, it's going to be interesting, and again, you're talking about a 60-game season here, and it doesn't sound like much, but the Indians have the ability to what I don't think they have is good relief pitching or setup guys. So I think that's a problem. But everywhere else, I think the offense, the infield offensively and defensively, I think is as good as anybody in the game. I think the starting pitching is as good as anybody, and they should rack up a whole bunch of home runs.
Yeah, I'm interested to know how you feel about the outfield because I know you've been pointing out for a couple years now that they basically haven't answered that question at a big league level. It's almost like what they refer to the kind of players they've had out there. They call them 4A players,
right.
better than AAA, but not necessarily good major leaguers.
Well, in my voice of truth and reason, I mentioned Bradley Zimmer, who I not that I forgot about him, but I didn't expect to see him do much this year, and it looks like he's possibly going to be able to do that. And if he does, he solves a big problem in the outfield.
Yeah, I mean, we have to remember that he was a guy that they talked about as the future of that position. A guy who could run and play defense and get on base and and hit a little bit. I mean, nobody thought he was going to be Grady Sizemore out there.
He can run the
Um,
bases as well as anybody in the game.
Absolutely can. And you have to feel better about the outfield with Mercado
Yeah,
a year later, right? I mean, what do we even know about him last
nothing.
year at this time? And I think everybody, when you start talking about the positives in that outfield, it all starts right there with
Right.
him.
All right, let's turn to football a little bit because David Njoku has come up with a tweet. I think it's mandatory. If you tweet, if you're a Cleveland athlete, you must say something nice about the city of Cleveland. I think that's mandatory, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is. He
Yeah,
says,
everybody seems to do it. It doesn't necessarily change what they do
"Eh,
contract wise or whatever else,
no,
but
but they love the city. I want to, according to Njoku, I want to make something perfectly clear. I love the city of Cleveland with all my heart. This game is filled with a lot of complications, but don't think for a second that I don't love and appreciate Cleveland and all it's done for me. So you don't really have to do anything. You just say I love Cleveland, and you're in safe territory.
yeah, I think going back to one of the Lofton contract stuff back in the '90s. I mean, that's what he kept saying was how much he loved being here.
Right.
And to this day, people still call him the mayor because they think he never wanted to leave here. Well, you know,
I remember he
there's
wanted to leave here.
I would say the same
I,
for those guys.
yeah, I do remember that he did want to leave for some time, but
Yeah.
it all worked out for everybody. Um, so what do you do? Would you trade Njoku or not? He's third on the list.
Well, I don't know. We've talked about this in principle a little bit. I just think that we don't. This is such uh, uncharted territory going into a season with this virus hanging over everybody's head. Right now, it looks like they've got too many good players at the position, but we don't know. I mean, injuries in the NFL, there's always uh, physical attrition, during the course of a season or training camp or whatever. And now we're going to have this thing as a possibility of where guys are going to get sick and have to leave the team for a certain amount of time. I would not be in a hurry to trade anybody at this point that I thought was a value could be a valuable part of this team, especially an offense, the offense, because I think that's where this team's going to hang its hat.
And I also think if you're a tight end, you have more of a chance to succeed with the new coach and the new scheme here in Cleveland than you do somewhere else. I mean, you're only talking about a couple of teams that need somebody at that position, and they haven't loaded up on tight ends yet around the league. So I would think that Njoku has a chance to play here if he wants to.
Yeah, I mean, he's always been kind of a mystifying guy. He's the guy that doesn't make the easy catches, but usually makes the hard catches. Has not been able to stay on the field. We know there was an issue between him and the head coach last year, and it's yet to be, decided amongst people in the media, at least, like who was to blame for that. Was it Njoku not wanting to practice hard? Was it him not running routes, falling asleep in meetings? What was it exactly, or was it Freddie just misusing his personnel?
216-575-0403 is the number to call. Bud Shaw is with us. You can email us during the show at reallesLevine at gmail.com. Did you know the Ohio Lottery has paid out over $1 billion in winnings over the last 6 months? Well, people are winning in record numbers, and winning is happening around the state of Ohio. Play an Ohio Lottery game and play it today. You can follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/more sports and less Levine. New content posted each and every day. It's real easy. We post the question in the morning. You respond to it all day long. We read it to you over the air, and we'll see how people respond to that. We'll come back in a moment. More sports and less Levine continues. What's your expectations for OBJ this year? Everybody's got interesting stuff to say about the guy. Back in a moment. More sports and less Levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
Presque Isle Downs and Casino has sports betting. Use one of our 50 state-of-the-art Bet America kiosks to place your bet and watch your favorite games on one of our many HD televisions or visit our sportsbook area. Only at Presque Isle Downs and Casino.
Do you like Ohio State football? Would you like to get information from me, Doug Lesmerises, about Ohio State football without having to look at my face? We have got the plan for you. Become an Ohio State text subscriber through cleveland.com. You send a text, 614-350-3315. What do you get? 2, 3, 4 texts right in your phone every day about Ohio State football. Inside information, polls, voting, all kinds of things. You can be on our podcast. We take text subscriber questions on our Buckeye Talk podcast every week. If you really want to be involved with Ohio State football, in season or out of season, become an Ohio State text subscriber from cleveland.com. Send a text to 614-350-3315. 14-day free trial. What do you have to lose? $3.99 a month after that. 614-350-3315. I'll see you in your phone.
As a kid growing up, my dream was to go to college, play baseball, and get a degree. Coming out of high school, I had two choices. I was accepted into a four-year university, but I decided to come to Tri-C after receiving a scholarship. I got my associate's degree at Tri-C. They transferred all my credits straight into Baldwin-Wallace, so I started at Baldwin-Wallace University as a junior. My name is Tyler Leonard, and I earned my first degree at Tri-C.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program recognizes role model students and teachers from across Ohio. Nominations can now be done completely online. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com. In the About section, find Partners in Education. There you will find links to the nomination forms. Students kindergarten through 12th grade can be academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as a Teacher of the Month. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
Birthdays for today: Chuck Roast, born in 1947, John Hart, Indians GM, CC Sabathia, who earned $251 million in his career, Kellen Winslow Jr., it's a Cleveland Day today, DeAndre Jordan and Jalen Marshall, all born on the 21st of July, 216-575-0403. Hey, Bud, when you saw CC Sabathia originally, we're going back to what, 2001 maybe? Something like that? What were your thoughts when you saw him?
Well, my thoughts are immediately that first spring training because, there were people there who weren't sure, that he was ready. He could be the guy that would go north with the team. He was so young and raw in some ways, and I just remember Charlie Manuel, really talking up CC and saying that he's a guy that has to be with this team. You just saw this great talent there, and the question they always had about him was whether his body would hold up. They felt the same way about Bartolo Colon. I remember having those discussions. Do you sink a ton of money in a guy who is going to carry this big body into spring training and all through the season, year after year after year? And it turned out those two guys proved to be pretty durable.
And Sabathia was even better because he came along with the reputation of being a great athlete, and we saw that over the years. Some of the plays he made around ground balls between the pitcher's mound and third base and all that. He athletically
Absolutely.
he did very, very well. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. I'm sort of interested in the national stuff we get about Odell Beckham. It's almost unanimous that this guy's going to have a great year. And we'll take a look at listen to what's being said. But I want to find out from you why you think that it's almost unanimous. Odell, this comes nationally from one of our sources. Last season, OBJ caught not only 30% of his deep targets, which was the third lowest percentage in the NFL of all pass catchers who saw at least 20 deep targets. New head coach Kevin Stefanski says thinks that the offense will create more opportunities for OBJ. We'll get that right. And what do you think? These seem to be the same. And this is from NFL.com, and it's similar to what we're hearing all over. What do you think the year bodes for OBJ?
Well, none of these guys are famous for saying what we all know to be true, that they didn't come in ready for the season last year. And that would be admitting a mistake, and guys generally don't do that, not just athletes, but it's human nature. So I don't expect OBJ to say, hey, I wasn't on the same page with Baker Mayfield, and I'm going to make sure I am this year. But that was clearly the case, and and certainly an injury played some part in that. But it's also a guy that, whether you thought that those off-season training activities were important or not, everybody made fun of the media when the media brought those up about his absence from those things. Until I see these guys click on the field and spend some time together, more time together in practice, I'm going to think that played a role in this.
Well, we were right on. I think it was unanimous among the media members out there who followed the team that was going to happen, and you didn't want it to. You hedged against that bet, but it never changed, and Beckham was a big part of the problem.
Yeah, and we saw his numbers are not unimpressive from last year. So I think it's a reasonable jump in logic to say that if things go better, if Mayfield has a better season, if Stefanski calls a better game than Freddie Kitchens did, that a guy with his kind of talent should do even better than he did last year. I mean, if he doesn't, then something's terribly wrong, either with the quarterback or the offensive game planning.
All right, you brought up play calling. Do you think the result will be a little different than it would have been without what's going on around the teams? In other words, was Van Pelt going to be calling it, or is it Stefanski, and that has changed because of the circumstances, or do you think it's going to be what it was going to be?
Yeah, I mean, the last we heard, Van Pelt, I think, is a couple years removed from calling plays. I'm not sure. Did he ever have that as a full-time responsibility? I think he did one season, but he hasn't done it
Not recently.
in a little while. And a lot of these coaches, Les, and I know you argued against Hugh Jackson ever doing this, but a lot of these guys feel like, they're the head coach. They're going to be judged on how well this team does, and if they think that's what they do best, they're reluctant to give it up to somebody else. So if Stefanski does it, though, I think it'll be more of a one-year thing until he feels like he has the offense in place that he wants.
And they
he
very
seems
well
to be a pretty reasonable guy.
Yeah, I mean, but you said that it depends on how it works. It's also going to depend if it doesn't work. It's going to depend on if he's not ready to call a fake punt or something, onside kick, whatever it is. And coaches have a million things they need to think about, and this is just one more of them.
Yeah, I agree. And I think this season, without having these guys in Berea for any contact at all with a new staff, I think that just adds more to the challenge for a head coach. So I could see why it would be in his best interest to just be a head coach and let the offensive game planning fall to Van Pelt. I just don't know that Van Pelt's the right guy right now.
Bud Shaw with us tonight, as he is on most Tuesday nights. We appreciate that very much. When we come back, we're going to ask him the best off-season moves by the Browns offensively and defensively, and what he expects from the offense and defense. We'll do that when we get back. East, West, and South, that's where you're going to find the 4 locations, including the website, northeastfactorydirect.com. Check them out for the lowest price guarantee anywhere in northeastern Ohio. Back in a moment with Bud Shaw. More sports and less Levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
Celebrate Naturestone's 30-year anniversary with a free Naturestone floor. During 2020, we will be giving away 30 free floors to 30 very lucky customers to say thank you for making Naturestone the best concrete flooring solution for garages, basements, and more. Call or visit naturestone.com today to register to win, and we'll send you a copy of our new buyer's guide absolutely free. There's no purchase necessary. Winners will be chosen monthly. With over 30 million square feet installed for more than 60,000 customers, it's easy to see why I always say it's not just a floor. Wow, it's Naturestone.
There are tastes we remember. Every smell brings the happiness of times gone by. Experience this every time you walk into Gallucci's Italian Foods. Whether you need lunch on the go, a catered party, or that perfect blend of wine, meats, and cheeses, Gallucci's has exactly what you're looking for. Straight from Mama's kitchen for old world traditions or original experiences. From the tastes you remember to new flavors you'll never forget. Gallucci's is a tasty branch of your family tree.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just the mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
Bud Shaw getting ready to rate his How Come Quickies a little bit later. Here's our own to start it off. How come last night the Indians looked like they were in midseason form, and considering it was July 20th, they should have been? How about that?
I like that one, Les.
Quick. An 8 point. I'll take an 8.5 in a game I invented. Yeah.
You think I could ever get this camera thing straightened out?
What
I
thing?
move it this way, it goes off.
Oh, I'm not in
There
charge.
we go.
They don't want me anywhere near the equipment. It's something I have in my contract.
And me.
And you also. 216-575-0403. Email us during the show at reallesslevine@gmail.com. All right, Bud, we're going to ask you the biggest and most important move the Browns made in the offseason. Let's start with the offense. What do you have?
Well, here's the thing, Les. I gave this some thought today when Brian asked me, and I was a little torn because I think the upgrading of the offensive line is definitely something to mention with Conklin, with the draft left tackle draft pick at number 10, was it? But to me, the one that was symbolic but also practical was signing Myles Garrett to that extension, because he's a guy that I think you build a team around, even though we know he hurt the team last year by missing those last 6 games, being suspended. I think he's got the respect of everybody in there, every teammate, every coach. And I think he's just this unusual talent that if you have him, you can't afford to lose him. And in signing him, I think it put an end to whatever temptation they might have had to spend money on Jadeveon Clowney, which I would have argued against. I don't think he's the kind of teammate and player that you want to bring into a new situation. So I'm with the Myles Garrett signing an extension, and I think that gets everybody excited about the possibilities for this team over the next 5 years.
Do you think the long national nightmare of that is the Cleveland Browns is ended with this? In other words, this is a place where coaches went to die. This is a place where players went to stay away, sign their last contract and not play in the postseason anymore. Do you think this puts an end to that, at least psychologically, as the players around the league seem to be closer and closer to each other about how they feel about things?
Yeah, I think it in part it does. I think from a fan standpoint, that feeling won't go away until Baker Mayfield turns around his season from a year ago. I think it's so important, and you could tell the energy level that was in this town for the opener this year, and I believe it was based in large part on the last 5 or 6 games they saw of Baker Mayfield's rookie year. And, I hearken back to that walking to the stadium for that Tennessee Titans opener with people, locked arms, 12, 15 across, barking and singing songs and all that. and then they come out of that thumping that they took by the Titans, and it just never seemed to regain that enthusiasm from that point on. And part of it was because Mayfield just didn't look like the same guy.
Yeah, and not only that, the excitement you were talking about and the atmosphere, and then all of a sudden the Browns come out first series, they drive it down and score. They look like they're unstoppable. So let me ask you this.
Yeah, they made it look like the season.
Yeah, I had a lucrative speaking engagement the other night, and I said, "Why don't you pay me?" No, I didn't do that. I wouldn't do that. I keep doing these, Bud, until I've spoken free to everybody in this city. So I think I got 2 more of these lucrative speaking engagements. I said something along the lines of Baker Mayfield. He doesn't have to be great. He doesn't have to be sensational. He just has to be. He just has to lead the team when he needs to lead it. He doesn't have to put up big numbers. And I mean, of all the things he should be is a leader of men, getting in and out of the huddle and moving the ball down the field. Am I right or not right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I wouldn't classify him as a game manager. I think he's far more talented than that in throwing the football. But I do think that he has to become more of a quarterback and less of a thrower than he was last year, because I think he let his mechanics go. He let a lot of things go and felt like his arm was going to be his saving grace. And it just takes more than that to be successful in the NFL.
All right, Bud has said that adding Conklin along with Myles Garrett, the number 1 moves offensively, or team-wise. What's the worst offseason moves the Browns made, or a move that they didn't quite get to make?
Yeah, I'm going to stay on that side of the ball, Les, because I think the biggest question about this team, both either on offense or defense, is that linebacker group. And a year ago, you can say what you want about Schobert and Kirksey, but they were guys that you could rely on at that position. Neither one is going to be there. They drafted Jacob Phillips this year, and I'm not sure that he's necessarily that kind of all-around linebacker who they can, who can become the playmaker at that position. So right now, I don't think it's a very strong group at all. It's, to me, the one weakness that they have. They've improved themselves with. You would think that they've improved themselves on run defense, and certainly defensive end should be better with fewer injuries at that position.
Maybe.
So I think a lot of what they've done offensively gets everybody very excited. But I know they don't think of linebacker as important as pass rusher and secondary. But I think it's still important in this league. And we've seen seasons where these linebackers have just been torched by tight ends in this division and around the league.
I'm looking. I don't see Clay Matthews III on that list. My guess is I won't. Why is that? I mean, he's got to be able to help them, doesn't he? I know he can't start and can't be an all-pro, but he's got to be able to help them.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't rightly say that I watched him closely enough to see how much he's still got left in the tank. I just know that this looks like a very inexperienced group to me right now.
Yeah, I agree with that. You can explore your interests and find a program that puts you on the right path to a bright future at Tri-C, offering over 1,000 courses and 1,400 technical programs. Go to tri-c.edu for more information from Tri-C. We'll take a break. We'll come back in a moment. More sports and Les Levine continues with Bud Shaw, exclusively on cleveland.com.
As a kid growing up, my dream was to go to college, play baseball, and get a degree. Coming out of high school, I had 2 choices. I was accepted into a 4-year university, but I decided to come to Tri-C after receiving a scholarship. I got my associate's degree at Tri-C. They transferred all my credits straight into Baldwin-Wallace, so I started at Baldwin-Wallace University as a junior. My name is Tyler Leonard, and I earned my first degree at Tri-C.
Well, hello, everyone. Let me tell you a little bit about Browns Football Insider. For only $3.99 a month, you can get text sent right to your phone each day from me, Dan Lobby, Scott Pasco, and Ellis Williams. In addition to that, you'll receive a Football Insider newsletter every day with special things from us, things that you won't see anywhere else on the site. You'll get breaking news, analysis, features, film breakdown, and things like that. Texting us directly gives you a great chance to cut through the clutter of Facebook, Twitter, other social media, and avoid the trolls. Also, it's the only way to get your questions on the Orange and Brown Talk podcast. So why should you sign up? Try a 14-day free trial. You can cancel at any time. All it takes is one text, but you won't want to cancel. We have hundreds of subscribers join us over the last year. They love it and have stayed with us. We're seeing the Football Insider community grow every week, and it's only $3.99 a month, which is less than 14 cents a day. What I like most about Football Insider is the opportunity to connect with you one-on-one and really communicate with you. So how can you become a Football Insider? You can click on cleveland.com/Browns, the blue banner at the top of the page. Or easier yet, text me at 216-208-3965. Again, that's 216-208-3965.
It takes attention to detail. With your local Bryant dealer, you're getting more than just a technician. You're getting someone who pays attention to your needs and the little things that make a big difference. It takes a dealer you can rely on. And to keep your family warm this winter,
here, let me show you how this works.
It takes Bryant.
Bryant. Whatever it takes.
And to keep your family comfortable, it takes Smiley One Heating and Cooling. Find them at smiley1.com.
This day in sports history, you got 1973, Hank Aaron hits his 700th home run, went on to hit 55 more of them before it was all said and done. Henry Aaron, the all-time home run champ as far as I'm concerned. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. So Bradley Zimmer is back with the Indians. Kind of a surprise. I guess I wrote him off. A lot of people did. And let's take a look at what Bradley Zimmer has done or will do. You see, he was selected with the almost 700th pick in the 2011 draft. He decided to go to University of San Francisco. He was selected in the 2014 first round, and his family can play the games also. They got great athletic ability within the family of Bradley Zimmer. And surprisingly, it doesn't look like it, but he's a tremendous base runner, maybe one of the best base runners in all of baseball. He had played 101 games in 2017, batting .241 and 7 homers, and there you see the rest of it. Only 43 games in the next 2 years. So we'll see if he can be the surprise that the surprise they're holding up their sleeve. I think the Indians would be very happy with that. You know who I'd be very happy with?
Well, this.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say this marks a historic occasion because this is the first time that Bradley Zimmer and Hank Aaron have been mentioned in back-to-back sentences.
Well, I did it alphabetically. I did it A to Z, Aaron to Zimmer.
No, hey, I was very impressed with him a couple years ago, and he's obviously fought back from a really difficult string of misfortune. So, I'm pulling for the guy. I think he's played himself onto the roster, and hopefully he stays healthy this year and can figure into their future because he's got a lot of talent.
Should we take a call from Devin in Concord? It's up to you. But it's not answering.
Oh, absolutely. I didn't know you were asking.
Oh.
I thought you were asking Brian.
No, I'm asking you for permission. Let's go to Devin in Concord.
Absolutely, yeah.
Hello, Devin.
That's all.
Good Lord, were those tumbleweeds or? I was starting to sweat it out there, bud. Hey, did you strategically place the baseball mitt and the baseball back there behind you in your counters? Look at you, huh?
No, hey, if you had watched from a couple weeks ago, Les had asked about the first baseball glove you ever had, and I still happen to have mine, and that's it. That's why it's out.
I keep a glove and
Mickey
ball.
Mantle.
I keep a glove and ball in my trunk just in case a game of catch blows up. I had a flat tire, and the kid came out from AAA, and we before he fixed the tire, we had a catch, as they say in New York.
Is that one of those myths with like where there's just 4 fat fingers? You know, like the old
No,
timers.
no.
Got the big circle in the middle.
Don't you wonder how how guys didn't hit 460? Because how can you make a play with gloves like that?
I think they just used it as like a backdrop, almost like to stop the thing from hurting their bare hand
Yeah.
or something.
And then they'd leave it on the field. Like if you're a shortstop,
Then
you
they'd
just
leave it on the
leave
field.
it on the
Yeah.
field. What was the purpose
know.
of that? Anybody have any idea?
They were hoping somebody else would take it.
Yeah, they're hoping somebody else.
If I were the guy taking the mid, I'd put some safety pins or something in it to hurt the guy.
Yeah, you wonder what Ty Cobb was putting in there.
Yeah, he wasn't messing with
really.
safety pins. He was killing people.
Yeah, he actually,
allegedly.
Is that true? Like I read, it was a Cleveland game, wasn't it? Or
Yeah.
didn't he
We
kill
have
someone with the butt of a gun or something?
Yeah,
a barrel of a gun?
We have a new thing here at the show. It's called. I'm doing some home teaching. I'm doing that with Brian. Last week we did the elevator operator who got allegedly killed by Ty Cobb. So we have to get into. There's some other things we need to get into. Bring them up to speed.
It sounds like this date in Ty Cobb history should be a regular feature on this.
It's terrible because that guy was. I mean, you could argue he was the best player ever.
I think I'd take the Babe, but you could be. How come? I mean, it's like a how come quickie. If the three of us were going to make up the greatest players ever, they will be made up by guys we never saw play.
Right. Well, except your boy Hank Aaron.
Yeah, I did see him. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember when I was a kid. I used to. I mean, teenager. Whenever Nolan Ryan came into town, I would go to a Tribe game. You know, that was when the place was so empty that you had your own vendor. He would just sit next to you, the hot dog guy or the beer guy. You know, instead of walking around.
7 no-hitters. 7 no-hitters.
Sat next to you.
7 no-hitters by Nolan Ryan.
Yeah, he was. I mean, just and I used to love Robin Yount was another guy that I would pay to go see.
Hey, by the way, speaking of Robin Yount, I for the first time over the weekend I saw the Bob Uecker thing. Did anybody see the Bob Uecker story? It's an hour thing.
No,
he says
not.
You know he's famous for in 1964 taking a tuba around with he was the backup catcher, and the band in the would be in the outfield before the game, and they'd practice the tuba, and Uecker took the tuba and started catching the ball with it out there. But he said Bertie Tebbetts was his first manager, and he said Tebbetts called him over. Tebbetts brings a bat, hands it to him, and says, "All right, now let's get out there and stop this rally."
That's hilarious.
He got some great.
He just started calling Joey Batters, starting to club dudes.
Right. Okay, that's so funny.
That is hilarious.
Yeah. Now, you know how he caught the knuckleball, right? You know, it was spinning
No,
and
I didn't hear this one.
Yeah, he'd throw the knuckleball, he'd let it go, hit the wall, and when it stopped, he'd pick it up. What's on your mind tonight, Devin?
So
I got nothing. I was just looking at Bud's decor back there. I was kind of, I keep looking for some good writing books back there. I don't know. You got anything good back there?
No, I've scoured that bookcase for that, and
nothing. Run,
I've
dog,
got
go,
ball
or
4
something.
back
Go, dog,
there.
go.
All right, guys, we got stuff to do here. I could talk to you all night, and I think I have.
All right.
Thanks,
Later,
Devin.
guys.
All right.
Great to talk to you.
Take care, guys.
Love that guy. The Indians switching their lineup a little bit. They're apparently Francisco Lindor will be the number 3 man, which will add a whole new dimension to his game instead of the leadoff spot. But I think when you decide where you put Francisco Lindor, you just go to Frankie and say, hey, where do you want to bat tonight? It's up to you.
Yeah,
Wherever you want to.
That's where I would start.
Yeah. Well, Matt Kelly of MLB.com listed the Indians with their under the radar lineup. I don't think they're under the radar. I think they're loaded. You look at this team, and it's not in order, but they've got Francisco Lindor. Look at that, 74 RBIs from last year. Jose Ramirez, 83 RBIs, 71 from Cesar Hernandez with Philly. Then you have Santana, who played at Philly a couple of years ago, and Franmil Reyes. There's not an opening in that lineup. I mean, who do you want to pitch to? Perez, probably. That's about it. I think they're going to.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not too sold yet on Reyes, but certainly the power numbers are there.
34 homers last year.
Yeah.
Between the two teams, not too bad. Well, it'll be fun watching them. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. Northeast Factory Direct, 3 locations plus the website, which of course is northeastfactorydirect.com with the lowest price guarantee. Alex has been doing it for over 20 years. Nobody does it better. Sokolowski's University Inn, still deciding what they're going to do. They, of course, are the only restaurant in the city that ever won the James Beard Foundation Award. And what a phenomenal story that is. Mike and Bernie Sokolowski's University Inn. We're going to take a break. We'll come on back in a moment. More Sports and Les Levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
Your home is your most important investment, and your basement is the go-to part of your home. It's your children's rec room. It's where your family and friends spend time together. It's much more than just a basement. Now is the perfect time to add beauty and value to your home with an authentic NatureStone basement floor. And every NatureStone floor comes with Russell's Promise, our true unconditional warranty. For a limited time, get our exclusive mini pearl stone for as low as $2.99 a square foot, plus installation. Schedule your free cost estimate easily online today at naturestone.com. It's not just a floor. Wow, it's NatureStone.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a line, a long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just a mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
Presque Isle Downs and Casino has sports betting. Use one of our 50 state-of-the-art Bet America kiosks to place your bet and watch your favorite games on one of our many HD televisions or visit our sportsbook area. Only at Presque Isle Downs and Casino.
Bud Shaw going into his mode of grading outcome quickies. This date in Les Levine history, Les and some friends decided to have a moon landing party with Neil Armstrong. They decide mooning is not an option unless your name is Neil Armstrong.
Yeah, he could get away with that.
Yeah, and I think Mr. Gullible's saying, oh, Les will use that one, but he won't use the ones I've been using. Anyway, you'll be grading them soon. Facebook question of the day. With the shortened season to get underway, how do you think the Indians will finish in 2020? Josh Woodward, their rotation after Bieber and Clevenger is still very unknown. Carrasco is probably the biggest question mark, and whereas Savali is one of the younger starters, and it goes on from there. Lawrence C. Butler says, Tribe will be competitive. The short season requires a good start, and if they can accomplish that, they're as good as anybody else in the AL. They could be a surprise. But of course, Bud.
What does he know?
Exactly. Jim Nagley.
What does he know?
What does he know? Jim Nagley. As long as I'm hopeful, I think anything can happen this year. Maybe we can get off to a good start since the weather is warm. Glenn Berger says the Indians need to get off to a good start. I see them 35-25 in this truncated season. So we have to use the word truncated every night here. Ted Moon says, I still think they'll end up 31-29, being the Windians for the final time, and the division still goes to the Cleveland Baseball Club. Any thoughts in the last week or so changing about the name of the team? I don't think if it's going to be made, I don't know if it's going to be made immediately.
No, it seems to me that this is something that you put a lot more time into, and I heard Anthony Kestrovins from MLB.com on radio today, and I think he made a lot of sense in saying that they would probably want to use next year to say this is our last season as the Indians,
right?
And and let everybody have one more season of whatever comfort they get out of tradition like that, and then it gives people a chance to get used to a new name. So that seems to be a reasonable way to do it, unless they're under more pressure from MLB to make the change by next season.
Well, you don't hear anything about the Braves or the Kansas City Chiefs, but we'll see if as the season progresses. Let's go to the phones. Let's go to California, Santa Clara, California, for Bill. Hello, Bill.
Hey, how you doing, guys?
Doing well. How about you?
Good. On the Indians, I heard the name the Cleveland Rockers, which would be an interesting. Of course, you have the Rockies, but the Colorado Rockies, but the Rockers, tying into our rock and roll roots.
And by the way, the head of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in Cleveland was the head at Cooperstown.
Oh, interesting. So most of my stuff is about the Browns. I really don't understand why they're waiting until the 29th to report, because no one has ever met anyone on the team. We have a team of strangers, and you would think that that they would want to have as much time to and again, not work out heavy, twice a day, whatever, full contact, but just very slowly start working on the field.
Yeah, I think they needed to know for sure what some of the protocol would be if somebody turns up positive, or more than one turn up positive. I think they wanted to be more careful in this situation.
One thing that I'd recommend as far as getting instant feedback tests if anyone's positive, and I don't know if anyone's heard about this, but there are some dogs who have developed the sense of, just like there are dogs that can sniff out cancer, there are dogs that can sniff out COVID-19.
Well,
now,
if
tests like that would not be definitive. You'd want to, back it up with lab tests. But that would be a really, to have a, guy with a dog or a person with a dog running around a training camp sniffing everyone all the time to me, would be an excellent way of having real-time evaluation.
And if he could make tackles at the linebacker spot, that would really help.
That would be nice. That would be nice. I worry about the linebacker position too. It seems to me that every team we're going to face is just going to run on us until we stop them. That's what I'd do if you face a team with weak linebackers. And who knows about the defensive line? Maybe you run away from Garrett, but you run right all the time. But and in fact, I know that Stefanski wants to have like a 2 linebacker set as the nickel as our standard defense, and then go with a 1 linebacker set a lot, with a dime. And it seems to me that the fewer the linebackers you have on the field, the better you would want them.
Well, we'll see. He'll use it in a lot of different ways, and he'll figure out what he likes and what he doesn't like. It's not a perfect team. It's a much improved team, but it's not perfect.
Oh yeah, there's still holes, and everyone's worried about linebackers, and for a good reason. And again, with no one ever seeing anyone or walkthroughs or anything, has anyone ever figured out how many games discussion on how many additional games we will lose this season? Lack of of all the organized team activities, before the training camp. I think 2 games is reasonable.
You don't know. It's all a big guess.
Could also be facing a preseason with 0 games, which
correct
is going to be interesting to start a season with as little time together as this organization has had and no preseason games. It's that's not a definite yet, but that's where I think it's
That's what
heading,
it looks
at
like.
least from a
No,
player's
that what
standpoint.
I heard it was a definite that they decided this morning. No preseason games.
Right. That's as of now. That's what it looks like. Hey, Bill, thanks for joining us. Stay safe out there. It's rough going
You
out
too.
in California. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. Bud Shaw with us. We'll come back. I believe we have some How Come Quickies for him to grade. We'll do that and more. We also have the voicemail of Truth and Reason. If you can't get us while the show is on from 6 until 7 p.m. Eastern Time, you can call us anytime the rest of the day, 23 hours a day, at the number you see right there, which is 216-200-6650. Bud and I return one more time. Dennis Maniloff tomorrow, Mary Kay Cabot on Thursday. More sports and Les Levine continues with Bud Shaw exclusively on cleveland.com.
Your home is your most important investment, and your garage is the entrance to your home. It's where your kids come in from school. It's where your family and friends gather together. It's much more than just a garage. Now is the perfect time to add beauty and value to your home with an authentic Nature Stone garage floor. And every Nature Stone floor comes with Russell's Promise, our true unconditional warranty. For a limited time, get our exclusive gray brown blend stone for as low as $2.99 a square foot plus installation. Schedule your free cost estimate easily online today at naturestone.com. It's not just a floor. Wow, it's Nature Stone.
There are tastes we remember. Every smell brings the happiness of times gone by. Experience this every time you walk into Gallucci's Italian Foods. Whether you need lunch on the go, a catered party, or that perfect blend of wine, meats, and cheeses, Gallucci's has exactly what you're looking for. Straight from Mama's Kitchen for old world traditions or original experiences. From the tastes you remember to new flavors you'll never forget, Gallucci's is a tasty branch of your family tree.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program recognizes role model students and teachers from across Ohio. Nominations can now be done completely online. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com. In the About section, find Partners in Education. There you will find links to the nomination forms. Students, kindergarten through 12th grade, can be academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as a Teacher of the Month. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
There you see it tomorrow night, the D-Man Dennis Maniloff. Wednesday night, that is Wednesday night. And Thursday, Mary Kay Cabot will join us. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. Bud Shaw is with us. Got some quickies. We'll get them. Let's go to BP and Pepper Pike before we do that. Hello, BP.
Hey, Les and Bud, how are you guys doing tonight?
Good, sir. Good.
Good show.
Hey, how are
Very
you?
good. I like the David Njoku headline in the background.
Okay.
Yeah, I did call the fan, I think it was late last week, and I said, hey, if David Njoku really wants out of Cleveland, I'll trade him, but I want to get a player, like a linebacker in return. I don't want any more draft picks. This team's got way too many, draft picks, young players, especially a linebacker. What do you think of that idea? And does Bud know anybody in mind that would be a linebacker that we could trade for around the NFL?
No, I hadn't really considered that until you brought it up. I do think it makes some sense. Let's face it, you're going to get what kind of a draft pick for him at this point in his career, the way he's played over the last couple seasons. Not a great one, I wouldn't think. I would rather go with a guy that I've seen on tape play in this league and could fill a position of need. And so I think that makes sense, BP. But
And
no, I don't
forget
have anybody specific.
Don't forget anybody could have signed Njoku. I mean, he was out there.
Well, hasn't he been? No, he's been under the Browns' control. He's still on his rookie contract.
Yeah, but they could have worked out a trade before anybody was going to show up.
Well, I mean, it's interesting because his agent is Drew Rosenhaus. That's the same agent Duke Johnson had. So we know what happened with Duke Johnson. He was traded, and so we'll see what happens with Njoku. But I would like to, instead of just giving the guy away, I would at least, make him play here, see what he's got. But, once the Browns signed that, Austin Hooper to a big contract, I think Njoku was disgruntled.
You got
If I may change subjects, I've been really impressed with what the NBA has done. I mean, they recently did those coronavirus tests on about 350 players, and 0 of them came back positive.
That's great.
So it looks like they've done a great job in creating that bubble.
It's just there's so many games and so much time. You hope that it stays that way.
Right, but when you really look at it, I mean, unless something catastrophic happens, it looks like they're gonna, get their games going, and because they've created like a really nice situation there. So I have to give them credit. I hope baseball can get through their 60 games, and then they got playoffs. So we'll see. To me, baseball is a lot, and of course the NFL. They're much riskier things. What do you think about baseball trying to get their season done, and the NFL?
Yeah, they're trying to do that. The NFL with so much hitting and blocking and spitting and whatever else is going on, I don't know how they can do it, but it looks like they're going to give it a run, and it's very important to them to get it started on time. BP, great to talk to you. Stay safe out there. Got some How Come Quickies, bud. Ready?
Okay.
This is Bob in Fairview. Yeah, Bob in Fairview Park. How come the sound of trash cans banging How come the sound of trash cans banging gets confusing at Houston Astros inter-squad games?
Okay.
I had what do you got?
We're
5.0?
We're going to go 5.0. Yeah. Again, it's not protection on him as much as the first one always gets downgraded a little.
All right. I had a How Come Quickie actually come to life the other day. So, you have your trash removal, you have recycling and all that. So I've got this trash can. It's about half the size of a regular trash can. And you can't throw these puppies away. You put them on the side where they come and collect, and they say, well, they must have just carried some stuff out on that. We'll leave it here. This is 3 weeks now. I have this rubber garbage can sitting in the back seat of my car. All right.
You know what you're going to have to do, Les? You're going to have to put that rubber garbage can inside another garbage can.
Oh, you probably.
That would be.
All right. Now, Bob in Fairview Park actually apologizes to you in advance. You ready for this? He says, how come my vein... Well, here's the problem. People are starting to use words that I don't know. I've never heard of these words. How come my vein doctor, V-E-I-N, told me to sit, but I wanted a standing oblation? I assume oblation is the key word here, that I don't know what it means.
Yeah, I think it is, but is it oblation or ablation? A.
This is this is Bob from somewhere from Fairview Park. How do we know he's right?
I'm going to give him a 7.5 for the attempt, but I'm going to also check his spelling and reserve the right to turn it into a 4.0.
Okay, good. All right, Mr. Gullible has 2, and he's trying to get this one through all the time, and I don't know. Here's one. How come I started to write a drinking song, but I couldn't get past the first 4 bars?
Yeah, that's it's kind of, I saw it coming a little, but I like the attempt. I'll give him a 7.
I think this is all about this one, not the last one. This is all about getting this one in. And I'm not sure. Again, I don't know what this means, and I'm just giving it carte blanche. I'm just saying, yeah, go ahead, let's use it. All right, before we do it, I'm going to just say, whoever grades these things, not grades, but whoever actually okays them, I want them to know I had nothing to do with it because I don't know what it means. Am I safe in doing that?
It sounds to me like you're concerned about the censors right now.
Yeah. So I'm telling the censors right now, I'm sorry if I messed up, but I just don't know what it means. Mr. Gullible says, how come my belly is flat, but the L is silent? Somebody, help me. A 4.0, and you don't know what it means either, right?
No, I don't know what it means. He's gonna, and I'm sure once someone explains it, we'll go, oh,
yeah,
right.
As opposed to, oh no, it sure was great doing these on this show for 25 years. John Patrick. Now I get this one. I'm letting you know in advance. I get this one. John Patrick says, how come air at the gas station used to be free, but now it's $1? That's inflation.
You know what? I like it. It's a little long, but I do like it. Inflation. That's a pretty good.
All right. It's like.
Is that it tonight?
It's like compound ignorance. The guy doesn't know what he don't know. All right. What did you ask?
Is that it for tonight? No more How Come Quickies?
No more nothing for tonight. Why? What do you got? You got one?
Okay. Hey, quick, Les.
Yeah.
We were talking about how people might embrace or not embrace an Indian season once it starts. A guy that you work with at 92.3 occasionally, Adam the Bull, tweeted something recently, just tonight, that Friday will mark 135 days without a Cleveland or Ohio State team playing a game. So maybe this is going to take care of itself. Maybe everyone is just so starved that 5-10 games into it, they'll forget that the season is shortened and may have an asterisk at the end because of it. They won't care.
Good point, Adam the Bull. All right, bud. We will see you soon. Thanks so much as always.
Okay, always enjoy it, Les. Take care.
Okay, Bud Shaw, the great Bud Shaw. All right, that'll do it for us. We'll see you tomorrow with Dennis Maniloff. Of all the shows I've ever done, this is the most recent.